G'day, Chris here. ZOS want to make ESO combat accessible to as many people as possible, and I think that's a really noble goal. It's a worthwhile goal, but unfortunately ZOS have made some really bad mistakes with Update 35. I'm going to discuss just two of them today. In the first, I do scold ZOS, and in the second, I state the problem, but I do offer a solution too, because I want to inject a little bit of positivity into this discussion. It's been sorely missing lately. I agree that top players have outstanding DPS, and how they manage to achieve that while moving around and engaging in all the various boss mechanics is truly a marvel to behold. Notice that I didn't say obscene, as ZOS did. Call it a careless word, but really, from a professional communicator, not a good way to begin a major change by walking into a room and telling the players who are there, who are using the tools that ZOS provided them, that your damage is obscene. That's the first mistake, attacking, even if carelessly, the elite player base. That's the first point I wanted to make today. It didn't really warrant a video on its own. I just wanted to get it out there. Now, the second point is really the main part of this video and what this video is all about. The ZOS Update 35 preview poorly presents ZOS's standpoint. The main problem is that raiding is in a parlous state. The game is bleeding elite players. I don't see ZOS panicking about the more casual players, thankfully. Fresh meat's required, and for that, ZOS want to make it easier for the lower ranked combat DPS to step up. I understand that raiding's less important in ESO than in other MMOs because ZOS don't define an endgame deliberately in ESO. But combat at the top end is what defines MMOs, and ESO is no exception. More low to mid-range players are desperately needed so that trials may have a viable player pool. ZOS think that spell weaving is a barrier to that. It is not, and that's where ZOS went wrong. Players who aspire to trials are already doing spell weaving, and they've embraced it. Oh yeah, aspiring raiders, they need to practice a whole range of things, not just spell weaving. In some MMOs, players aspire to raiding not because they want to learn new skills or fights or progress to veteran hard modes or the equivalent. It's because they've paid good money for the game and they must progress to raiding so that they can enjoy the best that that game has to offer. Players are often funneled in that one direction. One MMO I know of in particular has such a threadbare story that the only way to experience almost all of that story is to watch raiders stream on Twitch. Effectively, content that you paid for is locked behind a raid wall. ESO is not like that. We pretty much get everything in Overland, including a decent story. Thus, you'd only want to do trials in ESO if you really want to do trials. Those players are thus highly motivated, and learning spell weaving is a trivial exercise compared to combat mechanics, improving your DPS, and so on. What I'm saying is that the problem is not spell weaving, but ZOS think it is. What I'm advocating is that ZOS double downs on spell weaving. As I implied before, getting players interested in trials and then to actually do those trials requires a lot more than just spell weaving. I'm limiting myself to one suggestion here, spell weaving. A lot more I know needs to be done, but let's just stick to that to keep this video short. As a casual, I'll do spell weaving and fits and starts in a sort of fashion if I really have to, probably only for more difficult content such as if I'm soloing a dungeon, and even then it's just so I can get the fight over and done with quicker by boosting my DPS. The rest of the time I'm chill and lazy. I'm happy with that. It's my endgame. When players begin to get a little bit more serious about their DPS and wanting to do instances, they'll probably be doing their undaunted repeatables, and that's where ZOS need to start. It can be done in a lore-friendly manner. Hey, straight after our new undaunted comrades have sung their songs and welcomed us in the tavern, we then get sent to the undaunted repeatable area in our faction zone. Initially, Bolgrul will be available, plus a new NPC as well. The other 3 existing NPCs won't yet be available. We need Bolgrul. I think it might be for companion rapport. I'll stand corrected on that. Plus, it's also so that players don't feel gated. They'll still have their delve repeatables available. And when a player walks up to this new NPC, they'll be greeted it'll be presented in a lore-friendly manner. Ah, so you want to know how the best fighters are able to defeat the toughest of foes in Tamriel, or a gregarious Khajiit? Ah, this one knows that you are indeed ready to become one of the best fighters in Tamriel. And so you get whisked away to this secret, undaunted enclave high up in the Skyrim mountains where only you are present, and you're greeted by a glib Khajiit who goes on with introducing you to some fairly basic looking training dummies. And so the tutorial progresses, each step of which can be repeated many times. You can visit the area many times. And of course, at the end, there's the obligatory orc who suggests that, so you're ready for the ultimate test. And there'll be a couple of training dummies there with 5, 10, 15 million hit points. These training dummies will do a bit of a small radius AoE that you have to step out of every 30 seconds or so. Nothing too onerous, it's really basic stuff. And of course, throw in a couple of achievements, or a title maybe, or a skill point or 3. So you're all alone, no one's judging you, and somewhere along the way, one of the NPCs will mark you as having completed the training to whatever requirements there are, so that when you do go back to the undaunted repeatables area, the other 3 undaunted repeatable offerers are available for you. Oh yeah, of those basic dummies that do damage, no one ever dies. When you get down to 5 or 10% health, if that were to happen, the fight will finish then and there. There's no repair bills, of course, and the training dummies are really basic looking as well, so that ZOS's income stream from nice looking target or raid dummies will not be affected at all. Yes, it will take players out of the world and make the world see a little bit more empty, but we have that already with housing, don't we? But that'll only be at the start when it's introduced, because don't forget, players won't level up, they won't get experience while in there, so they'll want to get out into the world of Tamriel so that their skills and everything can increase. There are already public trial groups which are run on a tutorial or university style basis, so ZOS might seek to link up with them as well. I'm going to leave it there today. The video is more focused and less rambling, thank goodness. So, hands off elite gamers, we need them, and spell weaving is the solution, not the problem. There's AoE and all those other nerfs. Another time. Let's be positive, let's finish now. Thank you for watching. Spicy Chris over and out.